Here we fucking go. Gotta put on Clark Kent glasses. I know I can tell that I'm fucking Superman. God damn this fucking movie.
Did I leave the stove on?
Don't you like this movie?
Yes! But the more I think about it, it's like fucking Batman versus Superman. I liked it at first. No, the more I fucking marinate on that shit.
Man of Steel. The first movie in DC's attempt to basically do what Marvel's been doing with their cinematic universe. And it could have been worse. Definitely could have been better. So first off, because it's a Zack Snyder movie, let's talk about the visuals first. I, for the most part, like how this movie is shot. I wish it had a little bit more color in it. It's very blue and gray in most scenes, which I understand the tone of the movie. Certain scenes, I wish there was some more color in there. It gets kind of dull to watch sometimes.
Right.
But there are some cases where like the color does kind of stand out a little more, like when John and Clark are talking against the truck. There's actually some good color there. I'll give them this over Marvel. Their movies have way more actual like contrast and color palette than Marvel's. Marvel movies tend to look pretty flat.
They're also shot on film, which I think gives it a more... I hate to be that elitist person, but like it gives it a more like pure like feeling to it.
Yeah.
Like cinematic feel to it.
Like I'll give the DC movies this. Like for the most part, I like how they look.
Mm-hmm.
I like the idea what they're going for. Now, certain movies are a little too dark visually where you can't see what's happening. There's some like shots that I love in this movie. I like Superman flying for the first time. I like the imagery of that.
It's my favorite moment in the entire movie.
It's good. It's a good little. Yeah. It's a good little sequence right there. My favorite shot is when he's a kid. It's at the end of the movie where it flashes back one last time where him as a kid where he has the cape with the white shirt.
You might not have liked it, but I actually really liked the moment when he actually became Superman, when he like finds his strength to overcome the gravity machine. Like I
thought that was a good moment.
Yeah.
And this movie has very good Superman moments, but I think this movie is a good idea. That's what I'll say about this movie. The movie is a good idea. It's a good concept. I think the problem lies with like it's just things throughout the movie that add up and make it just to where it kind of spoils the movie for me, where I can't say it's a good movie. So some visual things I don't like. A lot of the handheld gets very shaky sometimes. Going back to where Clark and John Kent are talking on the truck. They're just two people talking, but it's the camera moves a little too much even for...
As visual of a director that Zack Snyder is, he doesn't know how to frame. Yeah. A lot of his moments are either right front and center or super far off. And you don't have to always frame like that. Like, you can move your characters to the left, you can move them to the right, as long as you're focused on the characters. But I feel like he kind of is like condescending towards his audience, where he thinks that like they will only know that the characters are there if they're right in the middle of the frame, or if there's like some super wide shot. I'm like, oh come on, that's so distracting. Well, for me it is.
So with characters, I think the movie's casted very well, and a lot of the characters start out strong. Like Lois Lane's introduction, I think it's a really good introduction for her character. Like she really doesn't take shit from anyone. She's just kind of like, I'm here to do my job. I don't need to hear your shit. Good introduction for her. She actually has a character. Lawrence Fishburne as Perry White. He's a stereotype, but he plays it well.
Yeah.
He does carry it very well.
It's not one of those, like, over the top, I'm going to speak with an accent, cigar in my mouth.
40s thing.
It's nothing like that. I actually have mixed feelings about Lois Lane. Because, like you said, in her introduction, she was great.
Mm-hmm.
But then she turned into, like, Batman super detective in the movie.
Yeah, she basically replays her role from Batman vs. Superman. I guess Batman vs. Superman should replace her role in Man of Steel. But, like, once she finds out who Superman is, her only purpose in the movie is to be the middleman of getting him information he doesn't know or giving people Superman information.
Yeah.
That's her whole role in the movie. She doesn't have a character after that point. And that really makes me upset because I liked where they were going with her. Then she finds out who Superman is, and then she's just the exposition detective.
Mm-hmm.
That's her whole purpose in the movie. So when they finally do get together, like share the kiss, I don't really care because their biggest connection is she knows a secret identity. That is the biggest connection they have before then. And they try to force you to believe she's important. They, like, Zod is like...
General Zod would like this woman to accompany me.
It's all right. I'll go.
When you really look back, why did they bring Lois Lane? There is no... They don't even address why. The movie never even states why they bring her.
Only because... to help him escape.
Yeah.
That's really the only reason why she was written into that scene. How'd you feel about Russell Crowe?
I liked him. I like Russell Crowe as Jor-El. Because Superman's supposed to have, like, the noble father kind of character. He's a very honorable and noble person.
Did you like having an actual physical embodiment of Jor-El this time?
I don't think he needs to be past the opening, if anything, after he kind of does, like, explains Superman his backstory. I think they could have stopped it there. Because in the older Superman movies, that's what they did. That was basically Marlon Brando's purpose in the first Superman movies.
Okay.
I think the problem with Man of Steel when it comes to, like, their choices is that it's kind of what the Amazing Spider-Man movies' problems were. They want to be different.
Right.
They want to do it like, oh, let's add this in there because that wasn't really emphasized, or let's give this person less time, or they'll, like, change stuff around because it's different. But maybe there's a reason why those things worked originally, because that's how you should do it. Because I don't think Jor-El should play a bigger part in Superman's origin, or character-wise, than Papa Kent.
Yeah, because yes, Jor-El is also a moral compass, but Clark Kent never knew Jor-El. So Superman is supposed to know Jor-El, but it's really all about Clark Kent and his connection with Earth.
He learned his morals from his human dad. I don't mind mixing the dads. That's fine. Like, but in this movie, Jor-El's clearly the one he's taking more advice from. But if Superman's supposed to be, like, a human with God powers, basically, shouldn't he take more advice from his human father?
Right.
Henry Cavill as Superman, it's not a bad choice, because he's not a bad actor.
Right.
He looks the part. He looks like Superman. But my thing is, he doesn't have a character.
Yeah.
There is nothing to him as a character. His whole character is people just telling him how important he's going to be.
When the world finds out what you can do, it's going to change everything.
You'll be a god to them.
You're the answer to are we alone in the universe?
They won't necessarily make the same mistakes we did. Not if you guide them, Cal.
That you were sent here for a reason.
You will give the people of Earth an ideal to strive towards.
To me, that's the biggest problem about Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, and probably going forward into the DCEU, is that Superman is just... he's Superman by name and by costume only. I hate to say this, but, like, I wish there was, like, a scene where he was just saving a cat from a tree for no reason.
Because I can understand why, like, in certain movies, like Batman or Spider-Man, they kind of make sense of, like, they don't like doing it, but they feel like they have to. Superman's kind of in the same, like, he may not... but he almost, like, it's like he wants to save people. And, like, he feels like he needs to, because I have this ability, I should use it for good. And, like you're saying, like, there's, like, a quick, like, montage of him, like, just stopping burglars and saving a cat out of a tree, like in the first movie. I don't want like just to constantly compare the movies because they're different movies with different tones and different ideas. But in that movie, that feels like Superman because he's not just doing big scale things because that's not all he does. He does just help people who need it at that time.
In the final fight scene, if I saw him just go like stop a pillar from falling on a woman, that would have been perfect for me. I'm like, okay, he does have Superman characteristics in him.
There's glimpses in this movie, like you were saying, like there's parts of the movie that like, it's like they get the idea, it's just the execution is very flawed. One problem I have with like the Daily Planet characters, during the whole big Zod fight, there's like a cutaway to them like trying to save like one of the reporters. I don't care.
Yeah.
I've only seen two of these people in one scene beforehand and Perry White in another scene. But I don't know anything about them. I don't even know their names.
I Googled them. I still have no idea. Like was that supposed to be a reference or is just...
Yeah. And
Superman doesn't save them.
No. He like... And exactly. He doesn't save them. He just so happens to save them.
Yeah.
It's not like he like... It would be kind of cool if like... Maybe he sees them. Maybe throws Zod off somewhere for a second. Swoops down, grabs her real quick, and then goes back to the fight. Something like that. That would have been nice. But the best character in the whole movie, without a doubt...
Law and Order SVU guy, right?
Yep, that guy. But for real, the real best character is Michael Shannon as Zod.
I will find him!
He is the flattest, yet he's the most complex character in the entire movie. Literally, his only purpose was blown up. So now he has no purpose.
Yeah, he has to destroy Earth to build Krypton.
Yeah, so that's like so complex at the same time. It's like, wow.
That's a very over the top, like, that's a Saturday morning cartoon villain plan. But he's like actually like but like his method is so like deep.
Yeah.
I do like the idea of his villainy. I would say he's probably a better villain than most of the Marvel villains. But I feel like he's a bad first villain. From the complexity of where he was going and like how big scale, not a good first villain for Superman. That's a good sequel. Because it makes sense. Like, maybe Lex Luthor shouldn't be his first villain, but it makes sense that Zod would be a later villain. Shit, Batman v Superman could have been fucking Zod.
Yeah. Or Metallo could have...
Because Batman would then have to question, like, is he going to side with one of his own, or is he going to help the Earth? And that would solidify, like, oh, I guess he's on our side. Because he's fighting his own people to keep us alive.
I wish there was some kind of struggle. Like, as soon as he brought him on the ship, and they're talking, about the Codex and whatever, I wish Superman was like, maybe you got a point.
Right. All the complexity goes to what's happening, but the emotional stuff isn't super complex.
Yeah. Like, I shouldn't be rooting for Superman just because I
don't want the Earth to blow up.
Yeah.
My whole reason... Like, the only reason I want Superman to win is because if he doesn't, the Earth blows up.
Yeah. It's like, well...
Not because I emotionally side with him.
Right, exactly. But, like, there were parts of me, especially later on in the big action scene, when Zod breaks down. He's like, dude, you have no idea what I've been through. Like, I was literally born to do one thing, protect Krypton. Couldn't do it.
I have a chance to bring it back.
Yeah, now what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna destroy this planet and make it my own. Or whatever.
And you ruined that.
Yeah.
And then you broke that. So now, I'm just gonna kill you.
Yeah.
And everyone on this goddamn Earth.
Yeah, so like we see like a slow psychotic break.
Yeah.
Which I think is actually pretty interesting. But
I would say you definitely feel more for this Zod than the one from Superman 2. The one from Superman 2, he's just a bad guy.
Yeah,
he's just a dick who wants to rule the world. He's a dick who wants to rule the world, but it's still fun to watch. Last on the characters list of importance to talk to is Papa Kent. I hate this Papa Kent so much.
I can see where Kevin Costner tried. And
Yeah.
I know it was Kevin Costner's decision. Like, he was trying, as an actor, he tried his darndest.
To make this work.
But,
You would think giving him more screen time, giving him more character, would be better for him. But he's very contradictory. Because he's constantly telling Clark,
When the world finds out what you can do, it's going to change everything. A choice of whether to stand proud in front of the human race or not.
But then he later talks about how Clark is just going to be a farmer for his life.
I just want to do something useful with my life.
So farming, feeding people, that's not useful.
I didn't say that.
My biggest problem with Papa Kent is when they're arguing in the truck right before the tornado. All I got was Spider-Man ripoff.
Our family's been farming for 5 generations, Clark.
Your family, not mine. I don't even know why I'm listening to you. You're not my dad. You're just some guy who found me in a field.
Clark!
Stop lecturing me, please.
I don't mean to lecture and I don't mean to preach. And I know I'm not your father.
Then stop pretending to be.
Clark!
I hate his death. I hate his death in this
It's
movie.
stupid.
It's dumb. I like the idea of Jonathan Kent dying from a heart attack. I love that.
Because no matter how strong or fast you are, you can't stop.
You can't save a heart attack.
Yeah, you can't stop a heart attack. You can't stop, cancer. Just something so sudden and within the human body.
But a tornado, that whole problem was easily fixable. Because, okay, he doesn't want Clark to be found out. Then just have Clark go get the fucking dog. The dog is locked in the car. You we'll get your mom to the underpass. Why don't you get the mom to the underpass? Clark is faster and stronger than you, even without, the superpowers, just as that age and size. He could just go to the dog, open up the door, not have a problem because he has super strength, pick up the dog and run back. Problem completely solved.
Yeah.
But no, you had to go and fucking... It's so overly done to where he sacrifices himself to keep Clark hidden, so that's why Clark stays hidden. Even though the one person who constantly told him to stay hidden is now dead, and the only reason he died is because he's hidden.
Right.
So, why would you stay hidden? Because clearly bad things happen when you don't do anything. Going against the whole idea of the death, and it's just... by doing something physical, by doing a physical death to Papa Kent, ruins the idea of Superman being able to save him. Because he could. He could have saved him. Giving him the option to makes it, hurts the scene. But that's my take on the whole Papa Kent death and Jonathan Kent as a character. Just his whole point of the character is just to tell Clark how important he's going to be. That's Clark's whole character in the movie. Superman isn't interesting in this movie because he doesn't do anything. He's just told how important he's going to be. And then he just does something important at the end. But he doesn't go through anything.
Right.
All of his character moments are when someone's talking to him. But he doesn't do anything. He never personally makes a choice on his own. It's always someone giving him information, and that's what gives him the choice. He doesn't, change on his own. He doesn't make his own choices.